now at the second weekend in May, and we'll see how this one goes. Oh, it looks, it's very different already. It's not done. Very, very May. I'm aiming for May. I'm gonna be in trouble if I don't
Book.
1 minute.
I think she'll be published by the time she's in third grade, I think.
There you go.
Even if it's self-published. Just fun.
That's really cute, though.
I should tell you all about it. Okay. It was quite fun.
Really wasn't tell them?
Quorum, technically, right?
We do have a quorum. Do we have a quorum? Yeah, we have a quorum. Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you to Albany City Council Work Session, Monday, April 10th, 2023 at 4 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order and do a roll call, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Mayor Alex Johnson II,
Here?
Councilors Newton,
Present.
Novak,
Here.
Montague,
Here.
Kopsinski,
Here.
McGee, and Smith.
Here.
5 members present, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Do we have any business from the public that signed up? No business? Does anybody in the chambers like to speak to the council for 3 minutes? Hearing none, thank you. Next on the agenda items, amending the charge of the Albany Arts Commission. Director Ladane will be giving a presentation online, pages 2 and 3 of your packet. Please join us. We'll also be joined by Keith Losey and Joanne Zimmer. So go ahead, Director.
Good afternoon. And you just did my whole job, as I'm actually going to just kick it over to Keith and Joanne, but I will be controlling the presentation. So thank you for the opportunity, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And Keith and Joanne, feel free to take it away.
Okay. Well, hello, and thank you, Mayor and council members, for having the Arts Commission come out and talk about just a little update on what the Arts Commission has been doing, and then a request that we have of the council. So the Arts Commission was established in 1997 as we established the new City Hall, and there's really been no changes to our charter since 1997. It was a very broad charge that looked to implement and manage the City Hall Arts Master Plan. Tasks associated with the City Hall Arts Master Plan includes overseeing the rotating and changing exhibits, raising funds for the purchase of additional artwork, providing guidance to the City Council on public art in Albany, and to carry out any other tasks related to the arts that the council may request of us. So that was the very broad charge we were started with. And then it really left us with, we weren't a budget line item. We had to do our own fundraising, which can be a little difficult as a commission, as a city entity rather than a separate nonprofit or anything like that. So what we work on now, if Kim would move the slide forward, please.
Working on it. Apologize.
Okay. So what we do today, very broadly, is very similar. We still host a rotating artist here at City Hall, which for the last few years, because of the pandemic restrictions, we weren't able to have really any artists in. All of our members are people who started from 2021 or later. So we're all pandemic era commission members. But we just this year have been able to fill out and get back to 12 rotating artists. And actually a little bit, we've had 19 people apply to show here at City Hall just in the first 3 months of 2023, which is great. So we're actually doubling up on a few months to make sure we get as many people through as possible. So we now have a monthly rotation. We are expanding that, not just having rotating art, but actually having an artist meeting where they can the artist will be here and the public can come in and meet with them. And I actually have some flyers from the past month. We've already missed this date, and we don't have, the next time we'll do it is June, because we're giving up the space for the mayor's contest here in May. So I can pass these around for everybody to see what we're kind of doing with that. But and then beyond that, the last commission finished up the installation of the integrated narrative, which is the flowers over as you enter downtown. And that was their big project, and why so many of them stayed on so long, and why so many people are now new to the commission, because there's a lot of people that turned over once that project was completed. We also had the dumpster art in the downtown alleys that we did, and we would still take sponsorships for and continue doing that project as funds became available. And then new elements that we started when Joanne and I came on, really, are things like the public art inventory, which we're hoping will allow us to share a map eventually once we have it fully completed of where public art can be found in Albany. And we're looking at potentially partnering with the AVA to put that onto their app so that can be a digital map for them. We still review any donations of art that come in, and we've had a request from the mayor to look at doing some sort of mural that would help talk about forming the unity here in Albany, and just a kind of a capstone project to go along with some of the work here in downtown. Now, with that request on that mural, it led us to looking at how would we fund something like that? What would our role be with that? And we found a grant that we could apply for, and we previously requested from the council permission to apply to it, which you approved, thank you. It would not have any budget impact. It would be a straight cash grant, no match, other than match in time and materials. But when we started to try to answer the questions on that, we found there was a few things kind of lacking. The charter for us does not give us a clear mission that relates to kind of the contemporary issues that grantors are looking at. And so our request today, as we move to kind of the meat of what we're here for, is to request a change to our charter to include some new language, which should be in front of you in the packet. But the language will say, the Albany Arts Commission believes that art enriches the physical, economic, social, and cultural well-being of a community. The commission implements inspiring, diverse, and creative public art opportunities with equal, inclusive, and accessible access to the public through the gallery at City Hall and other public venues. Nice mouthful, but hits all the nice buzzwords often that grantors are looking for. And really what we want to do is, if we have this language included, it'll make our application stronger and give us more opportunity to do beautification projects and bring art here to Albany.
Question. Is it an okay time to ask a question?
Yes.
So if you apply for this grant and you get the grant, because you put the language in that they want to hear to get the money,
Yes.
does that money come with strings in terms of, okay, we gave you money, now you have to give us this kind of art? Do they dictate
No.
parameters of art, what the subjects of the art is, anything having to do with what a local artist might want to display? Does it have to fit certain parameters? Does it have?
So
Because
Joanne-
it seems to me like to me like there's some strings
Counselor,
attached.
you've asked him 4 questions, but won't let him answer. You asked him 4 questions and you never gave him a chance to answer. He was trying to.
I appreciate the question, Counselor. And Joanne has taken lead on writing that grant, and she can probably answer this a little better than I can, but from my understanding, no. What we would do is we have to already have an artist pre-selected and present our general concept. So it'll be based on what Albany wants to see in terms of that art. Then we apply to that grant and get it approved and then go forward. Where you might be hearing strings is that there's really no language in our charter that implies that we're going to be doing things outside of rotating the gallery here at City Hall, a little bit about fundraising for new pieces at City Hall. But if we wanted to expand a little beyond that and cover public art for all of Albany, which is what we're wanting to do with this grant. That's part of the reason why we're requesting this change, is just to help strengthen that as we put out these kinds of proposals. Joanne, did you have anything since you found the grant?
Just to clarify on this one grant opportunity, it's the Arts Builds Communities Grant through Oregon Arts Commission. And Keith is correct in saying that we devise the project and make the suggestion to the grantor. The strings, if there is anything, is the reporting at the end. We have to make sure that, there's certain questions that we'll have to address. How many people did we serve? What kind of community did we build? What happened with the mural? Those kinds of things. But as far as obligations that would be hold the city in some stead, there wouldn't be any. It's a pass-through through Parks and Recs Department. And in fact, there would be a little bit of admin that would go into Kim's budget to cover administrative work that she would do for us and whatnot. But as far as the grantor telling us how we're going to do something, no. That's not part of this particular grant anyway.
Counselor Kopczynski?
Yes, hi Joanne, I haven't seen you for a few years. Is this a fixed amount, or is this something we could apply for year after year after year, or?
I think for this particular one, there's no requirement as far as one and done kind of a thing. It's not a large grant, it's $5,000, that's the limit. There used to be a range, but in the last year, the Arts Commission just put a flat $5,000 limit on everybody so they could try to get more money out to more organizations.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I just want to say this is fantastic. I love the idea of broadening your scope and bringing public art throughout the whole city and not just focusing on City Hall. So I'm definitely excited about this.
Awesome, thank you. And hopefully there
We'll go
will
here.
be more opportunities to apply for funds beyond this one.
So Counselor Smith has a comment, and so is Counselor Newton.
Just one comment. I like the idea of expanding the permanent collection and rotating things in and out. It'll be nice to see something new and maybe it'll be nice to see something new.
Counselor?
I'm excited about the possibility of crosswalk and intersection artwork. I know you guys discussed that, but it's also a great traffic abatement and pedestrian safety aspect that we can add to our community while also adding some fun, creative flavor to our community.
Okay. Counselor
Yeah,
Kopczynski?
I'd like to see this come up at next council meeting for approval.
Those in favor, thumbs up, please, for next meeting.
Yep.
We'll see you on Wednesday.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
can I just take the opportunity as somebody who comes to work in this building every day to thank you for managing the art in the building, because it's really a pleasure to see it, and it's really makes the place a much nicer place to spend 8, 9, 10 hours a day. Thank you.
Thank you all for that. I appreciate it. So Director Ledane, you'll be bringing this back on Wednesday night?
Correct. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and thank you, Keith and Joanne.
Thank you very much, both of you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, we open back up. Next on the agenda is the opioid update, but Director Yeager is going to be a verbal. She's coming up. I can't do it.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Peter had asked me to come and talk about the opioid settlement price. No, I'm doing it. So opioid settlement proceeds. Here we go. We started receiving payments in fiscal year 2023. To date, we've received just under $225,000. Some of the projects that we have been using that money for is medical, purchasing more Narcan. We've been using it for training. It helps pay for overtime costs for first responders who are providing training to the community. We are looking at other opportunities to use that funding. So far, we've only spent about 7,000 of it, but we want to be careful how we do it. There are some really strict guidelines at the state level. If anybody's interested, if you go out to Oregon Health Authority, there is a whole section out there. Exhibit E is what they call it, and it's a list of opioid remediation uses. And it varies from medication-assisted treatment, training, even care for first responders, so that they can do some peer support, those kinds of opportunities. One of the things that we've done is we were looking at some CPR classes, free ones, for people in the community in case they come across somebody who has had an overdose. We sent that to the state, and they came back and said, well, one person at the state said, we think that's a great idea. Somebody at the Department of Justice said, well, you probably need to check with your legal counsel and to determine whether or not that's a good use. So we've been talking to our city attorney and, looking to see whether that would be a good use of those funds. Personally, I think it would be. The person who didn't think it might be such a great idea said that, well, what if this problem goes away? Would you then be providing these classes? And it's like, well, no, but I don't think the problem's going to go away. So I think, long-term, having more people who can help respond to somebody who is not breathing, whose heart has stopped would be a good thing. So we are still looking into that. That was Chief Wooten's suggestion. But really, I can answer any questions you might have. We don't, like I said, we haven't done a whole lot with it yet. We're still trying to determine the best way of using those funds.
Counselor Smith?
How often are we receiving the money, and how long do we expect to continue to receive it?
This has been a little odd. We've received 3 different payments in fiscal year 23. 2 of those were in December. I wasn't expecting to get them that way. I was expecting to get them annually. I haven't heard anything else about it. I've had to report on it. I can go out and take a look and see and get back to you.
Go ahead.
Were the payments in the same amount?
No, they're all different amounts. We received one payment that was just under 67,000, one that was just a little over 73, and one that was just under 83.
Is that because the sales are going up, so our percentage goes up?
I'm not sure, honestly, but I can check into it.
Okay. Are you done, Counselor Smith? Counselor Montague?
Do we have a set timeline to use these funds? Is there like a requirement to use them by whatever date?
I haven't seen a requirement for that. I think mainly they're just interested in how we're spending them.
Yeah, okay.
But, we certainly want to use them if we have them. We just want to use them wisely.
Okay. Counselor Novak? Anything?
No.
Counselor Kopczynski? So I do have, you already said no, right? So, okay, thank you. Prevention, I didn't hear, only one piece I heard prevention. Is there any prevention programs for the public? Awareness, anything for money's being spent for prevention?
In terms of, I'm sorry, I don't
The
know.
population, so we have this problem in our city, or
Yes.
the nation. But in our city, are we spending any monies toward prevention, whether it be education with young people, high schoolers, seniors?
We've been doing some training with the public, some first responders. I think there's one, is it this Wednesday night, that they're having a training on opioids in the community, and they were going to bring, they suggested bringing your teenagers to that. So some of those, I think it was this Wednesday, but I'm not sure. Somebody can let me know if that's wrong.
So Matt, Peter, can you make sure that gets out to the council?
Yeah, I know that the state has just mandated that the schools come up with curriculum which educates children about the hazards of opioid addiction. I believe these funds are for us to use in response efforts, but we'll find out if, we don't have an existing education program.
Right.
So we'll find out if there's other avenues that they can be used for your prevention concern. But they've been mostly involved in response.
But they, something like that training would help pay for the overtime that somebody may have to do that training. So that is one of the uses that we've approved.
Okay. Thank you. Do we need to make any motions or anything or for the meeting?
No, this is just
Is it verbal
for
up?
information.
Okay.
And if there's any other questions, and as we move forward, we'll come back and bring you any developments that happen as well.
All right, thank you. Next on the agenda is, thank you, Director, is business from the council. I'll start over here with Councilor Hopkinson. Councilor Smith? You say,
Wednesday's going to be a long meeting.
yes, it is.
So I just wanted to mention that I've attended now 2 meetings of the Lynn County Multi-Agency Community Team addressing the governor's executive order to prevent to address the homeless emergency that Lynn County is now included in. Their group is meeting every Thursday at 2 o'clock until I'm not sure when, but Lynn County is going to be receiving money from that executive order to go towards prevention of homelessness, finding and expanding shelters, and getting people into full-time housing. There are 3 specific goals. There are about 40 people who've been involved in those calls already. There are people who are already doing work with the homeless, all the service providers from one end of Lynn County to the other. They've been very productive calls, and we had a call today with the state housing and community services staff, and they had specific questions about what we need in Lynn County, what the gaps are, what's working, what's not working, what we could use more money for. And the providers were ready to go with suggestions, primarily addressing ongoing programs that are already in place that could use money to be sustainable rather than always grappling to keep something going once it started working. So it was a good call and good people involved. And it's sort of, for people who are familiar with the HEART organization, to me, this is HEART 2.0.
Okay.
It's the same people who've been involved. It's new people who've taken jobs that after other people have retired. This situation has expanded, and I'm hopeful that we might actually accomplish something.
Good.
So,
Good to hear.
yeah,
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that.
you're welcome.
Councilor Newton? Councilor Montague? Councilor Novak? Nothing? I have nothing for this evening, but I will have stuff on Wednesday night, just a few things. Now for the city manager's report.
Thanks, Mayor. You had asked about, just a second ago with our finance director about prevention. So Matthew Harrington has forwarded this announcement about the event Wednesday evening. It's at 6:30 at the Russell Tripp Theater at Lynn Benton.
Will be here.
And I'll read you the advertisement at the line. The Lynn Interagency Narcotics Enforcement presents fentanyl in our community. Learn the latest in drug trends, because what you don't know will kill you or a loved one. Understanding the dangers of illicit fentanyl, where it's coming from, and what you can do. And again, that's this Wednesday at 6:30. And I will forward this announcement out. It's a Facebook page, but I'll forward it to you. And as Councilor Smith said, as short as tonight is, Wednesday will be long. So in the next week, we have budget committee meetings on the 18th and the 20th. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you very much. And with that, I will adjourn tonight's meeting. Thank you very much.